The Law of the Lid. That was chapter 1 of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I'm actually doing something weird, not surprising. Started a book that is a hard copy. That actually in itself is weird because I haven't done that in a long time. 21 Laws of Leadership in the Bible by John Maxwell. And after trying to find it on Audible, it's not there for some reason. So there is a book called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and it's very similar, but the case studies are different. Instead of Bible characters that are the case studies of these different laws, they are more business entrepreneurial people. So the Law of the Lid was chapter 1. We're going to be diving into that a little bit today. And then furthering the hey, join Kenny, join his journey, his evolution, his turning into a butterfly. Yeah, it was kind of weird, sorry. But anyway, that will be part of the episode today. I have been having some very good meetings. I'm getting out of that cave that we've talked about. The cave of solopreneuring, kind of hunkering down. When we had Daphne, my daughter, 4 years ago, this happened. There was, sort of all hands on deck at home. Make sure that the wife is supported, taken care of, really lean into the kids in regards to, being there for them, doing homeschool with them. And a couple other things got back seats in regards to the business, couple of relationships, just kind of getting out there, having meetings. And I'm very much a meeting guy. I like talking to people. I like connecting. So we are starting up the podcast again. Here we are and getting back into those meetings. And I've had a few wins. So I want to share those with you. And then I'll probably wrap up the episode with just some updates on some investment deals. I feel like that's a win on this show is kind of get a high level from me. And I gotta keep pushing the schedule a call. I think that's something that I probably will somehow put in my outro or just that idea of, hey, if you're listening to me, um, it's so much more enjoyable. And maybe even like the whole point of the show is to get phone calls and scheduled calls with people to have a two-way connection, not just me putting stuff out there, but to have some dialogue and hopefully ways I can help you guys. I met with Willie Coleman this week. He is another investor in the upstate of South Carolina. Willie has probably done 90 plus flips. It's funny because I said, how many flips have you done? And he says, not enough. And I was like, oh, looking for more flips. And I was like, so like, you know, 30, 40. He's like, well, I've done 90. Um, but that's a mix of a few things. And then he's like, well, let me look at my phone. And he's showing me some like Airbnb things. He built a massive, awesomely designed house in like the heart of downtown, right next to this like new park. And he called it it's called the warehouse. But in the hour I spent with him, I learned a lot about him, and I was really encouraged by some of his energy, his drive. He says his superpower is sort of that urgency to get things done, which is actually, sadly to say, one of my weaknesses. I kind of want to sit down and enjoy the conversation, get everything talked that we could talk about. Um, I don't want to race to the next thing. And not that he is, negatively racing the next thing, but he's just got a sense of urgency to him. He is 24 years old, so I'm 37. So, whenever you meet another investor, um, there's always that sort of like, "Hey, what can we do together? Where can we team up?" It's really exciting. It's something that, I look at other business owners, um, and they're a little bit maybe on like a train track. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but they're kinda have the rails up and they're staying in this lane and they go forward. In the real estate world, there is so much JV, potential partnerships, exploration of, hey, what is it that you do? What is it that I do? Where can we kind of mesh? And what's interesting is a lot of the meshing, this is true probably in so many other walks of life. Hey, you hate doing this thing? I love doing that thing. You don't like managing crews? I love managing crews. It's hard for you to like, work with investors and raise money. That's something I'm naturally good at. So there's so many opportunities that you actually put up um, more fences around your business to keep people out than you would need to. What I mean by that is very easy to walk into a partnership, but once you're in that partnership, when's the exit on this deal? Is this a 5-year play? Or is this like a 1-year play? Or are we doing this for the next few years, 10 plus years together? And there's a lot of dangers in aligning with certain people. And I talk about this in there's a video sales video sales letter that I've recently started. I've just about completed it. I've probably done like 3 different versions of it. But it talks about what's our investment strategy. And and as I, sort that out in my mind, it comes more and more true of like, hey, this needs to be lined up, this needs to be lined up, and these 2 other things need to be lined up. And if all these things work, then this is a deal that I'm interested in bringing investors in with me. But there's about 4 layers here that we have to make sure we're online with. It's not a, "Hey, you look pretty cool. Let's do this thing together." It's much, much deeper. So, I'm meeting with him this week and a couple other investors, and, you guys checked out my Instagram stories. That was something that I shared, but keep you guys apprised to, maybe some deals that we're gonna be doing together closer. So, anyway, that was something I wanted to share with you guys. So, let's dive in. The the book. I am just getting this message over and over, and I haven't talked a lot on this series, on this podcast about the ways I'm developing my leadership. I think just the term leadership is a new buzzword for me. How am I a leader? How am I leading? Is it effective? Obviously, leadership at home, leadership at work, leadership in the gym, leadership at the church. And I've sort of settled into being okay with not standing out too much. Hey, just kind of keep showing up, keep being around. And this ties back to the book that I've read, The Intentional Father. And we've talked about this before. Is it okay to be an involved dad who is there? He's involved, he's around. And I was happy with that person because I was not that person, in my 20s, maybe early 30s. But now that I'm 37, I am ready to take that next step and be an intentional dad and to be, leading with purpose and plans. So if that resonates with you, great, you're in the right spot because that's exactly what I'm working on right now. And I see the conversations I'm having with guys like Paul Kadavos, which is the guy that just came out episode on Wednesday, and future conversations on just how are we leading? Like, let's get better at leading. And what do leaders do? Think about the example leaders run to problems. They don't hide from them. They don't walk to them. They run to them so that they can be fixed. So things like that. So chapter 1 of this book that I'm reading just started this week, maybe last week. And it's called The 21 Laws of Leadership in the Bible. And came highly recommended from a good friend of mine who's very successful in what he does. And he said, you need to read this book. And the Audible version is called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So both the same laws, both books have the same laws, but they just have different examples and case studies. So, who wants to join me on reading this book? And if that's you, I open that up because part of what I'll probably be talking about on these solo episodes is the different laws. And if you want to follow along, that makes sense. And if not, you'll just hear what I'm learning and hopefully apply it in your life in some way. So the first chapter is called The Law of the Lid. And it's that concept that the author really said, I'm trying to get you to buy in here to the idea that you are capped with a lid if you are not leading. If you are a solopreneur or someone who's just happy with putting in 24 hours in a day, you are capped with 24 hours in a day. when you are able to lead and influence people. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself because the next chapter is the law of influence. But bigger things can start happening. So a little bit of a duh moment, but the takeaway for me is recognize the cappedness that my mind is putting on myself and start finding ways to lead in the groups you're already in. So for me, I started this workouts game. The guys that I work out with, I want to push them to grow in some of the things that they've talked about doing, but actually haven't actually done it. And we're gonna just put some categories and some point values, and we're gonna make this a little bit of a small buy-in, $25 buy-in, and the winner at the end of this month gets this thing. And I'm already seeing the guys get a little deeper and get excited, and maybe a little bit catty, perhaps, toward winning this thing. And it's been fun to see that as someone who wanted to find a role in this group, and I feel like this is that role. In my Bible group that I meet with some men in the morning at my church. It's about 10 of us or so, and I can just show up to those meetings and sort of listen to everyone else talk, or I can come ready to number one actively listen as someone else is sharing something, and then really try to weigh in on where I'm at in the conversation. We're going through the book of John right now. So, what are some questions I have about, chapter 1 and what this is? And what are some things I can relate to about the different disciples and Jesus calling them? So, anyway, um, the law of the lid, don't limit yourself by being the one person who is pushing your goals and agenda and values to completion. Bring others along with you and find ways to lead through the people that you're already connected with. And then from there, obviously, there's new people you can connect with, but don't wanna don't wanna share everything. They did go through the examples of Ray Kroc and the McDonald's brothers, and how the McDonald's brothers were capped in the lid of their own expertise of running, a few stores. And Ray Kroc sort of blew that lid up, and built thousands of McDonald's stuff. All right. Next topic I want to talk about is, last solo episode I talked about, sort of new mindset, new ventures. I just want to bring you guys with me on what I'm doing. I feel like I mean, if it's anything to just for me to track how I've been doing, but I know some of you guys out there are curious, maybe care. So this week's push has been things that I've known for a while, even back in, I think, Christmas time. I said, "Hey, I'm coming out with newsletters and all these other things." They just haven't come into fruition. So here we are, almost a year later, and I'm working on a newsletter. A buddy of mine, actually Paul Gadavos, said, "Hey, do you look at newsletter or something we could sign up for, like an email list?" And I was like, "I've been working on it. Hasn't really happened yet. I've had conversations about blah blah blah, and just excuses." And I got a friend of mine, Jared McKenna. He starts his own thing, and a couple weeks later, he's sending out emails saying, "Hey, join my newsletter." And I'm starting one, and I use this podcast actually as accountability. So I spent about probably 30 minutes before this episode researching, YouTubing. I have something called Go High Level. The OKIQ guys have helped set up um, the capital raisers that help raise funds for them through this CRM. And it's got a lot of capabilities that I haven't used yet, and the newsletter is one of them. So, I would love for you guys to sign up when this rolls out, and it's gonna be a very simple form that says, "Join Kenny Johnson's newsletter." Receive updates from the podcast, uh, updates for live webinars, and updates on deal opportunities. And to get a little bit of a following that will hopefully grow and give you guys something else to track uh, the things that I'm working on if they bring interest to you. So that kind of leads to my next point. What exactly are you doing, Kenny? Because it's kind of a question I ask myself a lot. Maybe not a lot, but when I need to sit down and do some soul searching and brain dumping. Um, got a couple of ventures that are happening right now. One is, kind of that solopreneuring fix and flip, buying rentals, selling rentals. That is right now the main stream of income. I have 4 other rentals. One's a commercial property that I own all by myself, and I would say, don't really produce income, but they are self-sustaining the properties that they are. So, those are my assets that are growing, and I'm still managing them, and I'm still having issues with some of them. One in particular, guys, check this out. One of our tenants is gone mysteriously. Just there's no one in the house. The house was actually somewhat clean. I walked through it last night and well, just kind of peeked in the windows, and they didn't look trashed. Now I haven't, done a deep dive on everything, but I got an email or phone update today. Hey, the energy bill has been reverted back to you. So the people just left. Welcome to being a landlord. Now I did have a security deposit that I will be keeping for them, and they have been falling behind on rent every month, and I'm using a property manager to help collect and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna be selling this property, and this is what's cool. One of the things that Paul had mentioned on the show previously was nothing bad happens to you. Only good things happen because we believe that God has everything for our good. And what was kind of cool is I was looking at selling off a property to, collect some, needed money to pay certain bills. And I was like, which property am I going to sell? Because I have equity in all of them, good amount of equity in some of them. And I didn't want to like kick out any tenants, which, I've heard so many stories about tenants or renters looking for a place because they're the landlord is selling their house. So I get it. But I was not going to resort to, I guess, kicking someone out if I didn't have to. So God just said, hey, these renters are going to leave and you can sell the house now. So pretty cool how that worked. And I'll be selling a house in Taylor's. Few other ventures that I'm involved with right now that I would say are, my other income streams, businesses. As most of you know, capital raising for syndications. So what that means is I have a team in Kansas City who is buying apartment complexes. These are, over 85, 100, 130 unit complexes, and they're doing a value add uh, flip, or they're holding on to it, or there's usually like a 5 year, 3 to 5 year hold on some of these things. So we're doing those things, and I am partnering in uh, to um, to bring capital and bring investors with me into these deals. So talked about it many times, but if that is something that is new to you guys or curious about, or interested in, there is a link in the show notes that says schedule a call with Kenny. Let me know if you're interested in that kind of stuff, to help educate and lay a groundwork for what that is. I realize we're all at different spectrums on the awareness of how syndications, group investing works, or something like that. A lot of people think, hey, I want to start getting into real estate. I need to go buy a rental. I need to go find a dumpy house or a nice house, maybe, and just lock money away into this thing that I now am 100% owner of and 100% responsible if something happens. That's how I started. Not a wrong way to do it. Lots of people do it that way, but there are other ways to do it. And if people, if you are someone who more or less has money, but does not have time and doesn't want to start a new job and would like to hear war stories about evictions and leaks and other things that happen as a landlord, let's schedule a call and let's talk about it. Another thing and we're also developing properties out there as well. So it's not just value adds. We're building a 289 unit multifamily apartment complex. It is going to be in the heart of a very desirable part of Kansas City. They're going to be luxury units with nice pools and other amenities. And it's going to be a very large project. It's going to be a 5 year play. And could talk to you about that deal. That is actually a live deal, if that is of interest to you. But those are the kind of things that I do with my Kansas City guys. I'm involved in other syndications, but I'm not pushing those opportunities right now. Um, but I do have some experience with other parts of the world, Texas and Colorado, doing uh, different deals. No shortage of deals, folks. If you feel like there's no deals happening right now, give me a call. Happy to connect you. And I see myself as a guide to help you guys understand what's going on, to nurture a relationship and be a resource for you. If a deal with me isn't Kansas City is not your thing, happy to connect. I'm a connector. I'm a nurturer. Those are um, those are my roles that I naturally tend to. Other things that I'm working on. Last week I talked about lead generation. So marketing to uh, pre foreclosure houses locally to say, hey, let me know if I can help you. Would love to, buy your house or set up some type of payment plan where you can maybe even still live in the house, or help transition you during whatever hard time you're facing to avoid foreclosure. And there's things that you can do with tax liens and other, motivated seller lists. But I am starting that. I've pulled the list. I've created a PO box. I have bought stamps. I have bought envelopes. It is now an issue of putting all that together and put them in the mail and saying, "All right, call me." And probably do that for a few months until maybe someone calls me. But that's something else I'm starting. So my own lead generation. And then there are some other things in the works that I don't want to talk about right now because they're still very early. But I'm sorting through how to be a leader, how to grow a business, and not have the rise and fall of Kenny's financial situation on just one person. And I do have a team to some degrees with my lenders, my attorneys, my CPAs, my wholesalers, my renovation crews. Like we're all in this together, where I can lead in my own role. But I want to be much more intentional about this, and really want to create a business I'm proud of that I can leave, and have operating without me. There's a book out there called The E Myth, Entrepreneurial Myth, and it's basically like if you think you're an entrepreneur, but you are the center point of anything in the business, and everything will come to a flop if you're not doing it all, then you're failing. So I think I've fallen into that trap a little bit of, hey, I want to, make money. So I guess I just need to work, or I want to relax and be with the family. So I guess I'll do that and hope that the money still comes in. And here I am a few years into this realizing I need to build a team, need to build a business. All right, guys. Those are those updates. I think finally, and I talked about the Copper Creek deal. So that was the Kansas City development. This is a live deal. I'm bringing in investors right now onto this deal, and if you're interested in hearing more about it, we're looking at an approximate 24% annual average return. This is for accredited investors only, and it's a 5-year play. Fabulous deal. Please give me a call if you want to talk about it. All right, guys. Thank you for today's episode with Kenny. I'm gonna be rolling out two more. I have two more guest episodes stored, and I have a few more people that I'm working on their schedules to line up. But look for episodes on Wednesdays. Hey guys, I'm back in this. So every Friday, you're going to hear from me. If I don't have a guest episode lined up for Wednesdays, I won't air one, but you will hear from me on every Friday. So mark your calendars. I'm in this with you guys. Why are we doing this? We're doing this to be the best dads we can, set ourselves up with legacy wealth, things that allow us to have margin and to be the best dads out there. So, all right, guys, let me close out with this quote from Ed Milet. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. Um, Let that resonate with you in regards to where are the inconsistencies happening in your life, and where can you align your vision with your actions in everything that you do. All right, signing out. Take care.